Hello, I'm Dr. Q. Welcome to my channel. This is the first class of Principles of Economics. If you have zero to little knowledge about economics, this will be a great start. In this class, I'll explain scarcity and opportunity cost, and summarize the definition for economics. Please subscribe my channel if you're interested in learning more about economics. What is economics and why is it important to learn economics? So there are three key words for the answers to these questions. There are limits, alternatives, and choices. When you come across the word limits in daily life, what do you think of? We may think of boundaries, restrictions, a point or a level we cannot pass, or there are something we can and we cannot do. Then, when you come across the word alternatives, what do you think of? We may think of possibilities or options. And the last word, choices, refer to making a decision. The three words compose the gist of economics. Economics is a social science of how social identities make optimal decisions in the face of scarcity. So, first of all, economics is a social science as opposed to natural science, such as physics or biology. It studies the social identities, such as individual consumers, households, businesses, firms, or societies. It is established to help them to make decisions because our wants are unlimited, while the means to satisfy the wants are limited. I will discuss the meaning of optimal decision later and now focus on scarcity. What is the meaning of scarcity? It means a thing is limited in quantity or quality, therefore costly to acquire, and it has to be desirable. Desirable means people want it. Trash, debt, air pollutants, embarrassed moments are undesirable and therefore not scarce. Food, shelter, education, amenities, natural resources, educated labor, machines, friendship, valuable time shared with loved ones are desirable and might be costly to acquire, therefore they're scarce. And scarcity is a comparative term. Even free natural resources can become scarce if costs arise in obtaining or consuming them. Clean air and drinkable water might not be scarce in majority part of the United States, but can be very scarce in certain regions of the world. Diamonds might not be considered as scarce in the Middle Ages, but they surely are now after centuries of education by jewelers like De Beers to consumers. Hand sanitizers, facial masks, gloves, and many other personal protective equipment were not as scarce before the pandemic, but they surely are very scarce during the outbreak of COVID-19. Because time is limited and scarce, when you choose to watch my video and learn about economics, you automatically give up other options like working out, hanging out with friends, reading a book, running chores, or studying something else. Because the production capacity and resources are limited for a business or a firm, when they choose to produce a combination of goods and services, they give up other options that might be profitable. When the tax revenue is fixed during a financial year, the government has to identify where additional spending could do the most good and where reduction in spending would do the least harm. You can find a budget summary at the White House website. For example, the year 2021 looks like this. We can say that the government made some choices in cutting spending and allocating the resources among healthcare, welfare reform, environmental problem, social defense, and many other items. Okay, we can have a look at this. If you want to check the details, it's very user-friendly to read it. All right. Therefore, because of scarcity, we have to pick and choose. When choosing one item or activity, we simultaneously give up other options. That is the reason of having opportunity cost. In economics, we habitually use the initials of the two words as the abbreviation OC. We hear the phrase, "there is no free lunch" a lot. We have an intuitive idea about everything comes with a price. And it is reasonable to refer to the opportunity cost as the price in plenty of occasions. However, in economics, we need to have a thorough and deep understanding about the definition of cost because it defines the decision-making procedure. So now, instead of thinking about the price tag or dollar sign like any adult, we need to view the cost through the eyes of a small child. Let's see, a 5-year-old little girl, her name is Hopper. Hopper receives $60 of gift certificate from her parents at Christmas to be used at toy store. So one day, Hopper's grandma takes Hopper to the store. Hopper was so excited and happy to see so many toys, and she just wants them all. But after gaining a better sense of affordability, Hopper narrows down to stuffed animals at $20 per piece and picture books at $10 per piece. The grandma tells her that if she spends all her money, she can get 3 stuffed animals or 6 books, or a limited combination of both. And Hopper made her decision of getting 1 stuffed animal at $20 per piece and 4 books at $10 each. By doing so, Hopper exhausts the budget. But while waiting to pay, Hopper tells her grandma that, "Well, the stuffed animal is so cute, I just want another one." Her grandma responds that, "You can pick another stuffed animal, but you have to return 2 of the 4 books you picked." And Hopper makes the exchange. So, from an adult's perspective, the second stuffed animal costs $20, but in the eyes of the child, it costs 2 picture books. And Hopper's understanding about the cost is the one of fundamental ideas in economics. Now let's think about another practical question. What is the cost of going to college as a full-time student for a year? Well, it depends on the next best alternative one has. Actually, in order to answer the question in regards to the cost, the first thing you need to consider is, what are the options? What other options do I have? Let's pull the summary of annual cost from North Carolina State University, the largest university in Carolinas. The in-state and out-state tuition fees are different, while the rest of the items are the same. Let's see. We definitely want to include the tuition and fees, books and supplies, and housing into the cost of going to college. We don't really want to include meals into the cost. Why? Because meals cost is not generated specifically of going to college. You have to eat no matter what you do. The expense on meals may vary with respect to what you do, but generally speaking, there's a food cost no matter what. Here, for the simplicity of calculation, we just do not include it as a college-specific cost. The same rationale applies to personal expenses and transportation. For loan fees, it is only applicable to a group of students, so we do not include it either. So the in-state explicit cost is a bit shy of $17,000, while the out-of-state explicit cost is a bit higher than $37,000. And what's the meaning of explicit cost? We will talk more about it in firm theory, but explicit here means obvious. It is obvious to see this type of cost as you can see your money go out your pocket or bank account and get into the universities. Next, let's see, what else are you losing by going to college? To rephrase that, if you did not go to college as a full-time student, what would you do? The answers may vary from person to person, but it's safe to guess that one may take a job, one may enlist in military or go traveling. Let's assume the single next best alternative means the alternative that brings you the most value if you do not go to college is working. On average, a high school diploma could earn you $30,000. Let's ignore the tax and everything for the simplicity of calculation. But by going to college as a full-time student, you automatically give up this earning, and this is also the cost. And this type of cost is not so obvious, so it's called implicit cost. In sum, going to college as a full-time student costs you about $47,000 for in-state and $67,000 for out-of-state. Now, think about what is the cost of going to college for Katie Ledecky. If she didn't go to Stanford, she would have gotten $5 million per year in endorsements. Apparently, she values college more and she went to Stanford. But for some entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elizabeth Holmes, thinks the opportunity cost of going to college is too high and they dropped out. Now let's think about the opportunity cost in perspective of a firm. For example, let's assume I own a factory, assembling computers for profit. In this factory, I have some spare space. This space is not used for anything, just there collecting dust. My question is, What is the opportunity cost of leaving portion of factory unused? Again, the first thing you need to ask me is, what are the alternative options? Can you utilize the space anyhow? If I can rent the space out and collect $2,000 per month as rent, then the opportunity cost of leaving the space unused is $2,000. If renting is not an option, but I can assemble more computers and get, say, $1,000 extra profit monthly, then the opportunity cost is $1,000. If there's absolutely nothing I can do to utilize the space, then the opportunity cost of leaving it unused is 0. In sum, when making a decision, the social identity, like individual consumers, businesses, societies, want to minimize the opportunity cost and make a decision to maximize the value. Alright, that's all I have for this video. I'll further discuss how to make optimal decision as a rational person in the next one. Thank you for watching. Please like or share the video and subscribe my channel for more lectures in economics.